because I love exposing me on the internet. You're so much in trouble. You so are. He has a vision. We love men that have a vision. I was screaming, crying, throwing up, but in a good way. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Sofía, but you can call me Soph. Today is a new day, a new slate. Today I'm embarking on a new journey, on a new adventure, and I couldn't be more excited about it because finally today is the day that I'll start reading a new release that I'm very eager, to not say excited, to read, because it is by one of my favorite authors ever. Like, she's totally my favorite romance author. If you can already guess who I'm talking about, also because of the thumbnail and the title of this video, this reading vlog will be reading to Great Big Beautiful Life, the new book by Emily Henry. I'm so excited. I can't really express my excitement over this. I don't know, one of the highlights of my year, the new book by Emily Henry coming every April, you know. She keeps being the moment.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
I can't wait. So I'll just explain the basics of this video very quick because I really want to get into this book as soon as possible. Hi, hello. Okay, that last video, I don't know why it stopped there. I kept filming, I remember that at least. So I think that footage is just lost. And I just noticed when I was editing the video. So now I'll try to say everything again from what I remember, especially of how I obtained the advanced listening copy of this book of Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I'll be telling you all of my thoughts and reactions, and I hope you can enjoy it and have a good time. So I just want to give a the biggest thanks to Libro FM because I'm part of their influencer program. They provide me with 10 amazing audiobooks every month. And the best thing was that one of the picks for this month was Great Big Beautiful Life. I'm so grateful. It's amazing, you know, like having this feeling of just being part of something like this. So thank you, Libro FM, so much. If you don't know Libro FM, they are the best option for not using Audible. Honestly, I mean, I don't mean to be shady or something like that, but Audible is really expensive. I don't know if this is my third world country self speaking right now, but yeah, like, what do you mean I have to pay like $15 a month for only one audiobook? No, that's crazy. The prices on this app depend. However, you will be supporting independent bookstores every time that you buy an audiobook. It's a win-win because if you're giving money to Audible, you're giving money to the big corporations who really don't care about you. They just care about your money. Well, that being said, I also talked about my relationship with romance at the beginning of the blog and how I didn't used to connect that much with it. Not because it was and still is a genre that is a little bit looked down, but because I couldn't connect that much with the characters and the stories of the romances that I had read in the past before Emily Henry. Maybe I didn't choose them as I should have. Maybe I didn't know very well my taste in romance books because most of them came out a little bit shallow or superficial to me, a story on a very surface level. Now in the next footage, I'll tell you what changed that. But then Emily Henry came and she told me personally, things can be different. And she had me crying for, I don't know, hours after I read Beach Read.
That book destroyed me, and at the same time, it put my heart back together. I don't know, there's something in that book, in everything that Emily writes, that it provides another layer of meaning and emotions, and I just love it.
Well, as I was saying, if you want to know more about the story, about how I came across her books, you can listen to it. This video over here. There I explained a visit I did to Book Twitter and how a tweet converted me into reading Emily Emily Henry, when there was only beach read. People we meet on vacation didn't even exist at that point. I'll just say that. Okay, so now here it is. I'll read you the synopsis, the blurb of the book, just in case you don't know what book I'm talking about. To be honest, I know, like, I'm very aware of the main premise, but I wouldn't know how to tell you what this book is about. I know there are two kind of writers and rivals, very reminiscent of beach read, if I'm allowed to say, and they have to play their part in a kind of competition to get the story out of a very famous woman, and I have my thoughts regarding. But first, let's read the synopsis together. Two writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve in this dazzling and sweeping novel from Emily Henry. Alice Scott is an eternal optimist still dreaming of her big writing break. Hayden Anderson is a Pulitzer Prize-winning human thundercloud, and they're both on a balmy little crescent island for the same reason: to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years, or at least to meet with the octogenarian who claims to be the Margaret Ives, tragic heiress, former tabloid princess, and daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. When Margaret invites them both for a 1-month trial period, after which she'll choose the person who'll tell her story. There are 3 things keeping Alice's head in the game. 1, Alice genuinely likes people, which means people usually like Alice, and she has a whole month to win the legendary woman over. 2, she's ready for this job and the chance to impress her perennially unimpressed family with a serious publication. 3, Hayden Anderson, who should have no reason to be concerned about losing this book, it's glowering at her in a shaken to the core way that suggests he sees her as competition. But the problem is, Margaret is only giving each of them pieces of her story. Pieces they can't swap to put together because of an ironclad NDA and an inconvenient yearning pulsing between them every time they're in the same room. And it's becoming abundantly clear that their story, just like the tale Margaret's spinning, could be a mystery, tragedy, or love ballad, depending on who's telling it. I just want to stay home to read this book in one sitting. Okay, so predictions. I don't know if I have predictions, to be honest. A lot of people have said this already about how similar, kind of similar, is to Beach Read, and also there's a cult, I believe. If you haven't read Beach Read, maybe this doesn't ring a bell, but that book doesn't include a cult per se. However, it talks about a cult, and people were saying, oh, is this story about that cult? But it's seemingly not. So I just know that stories with writers are the most personal to Emily, and that also means that probably they'll strike me even more. I'm also a writer, and I just love books, man. You know, like, I just love the power of fiction. I'm also wondering if for some reason Emily, kind of inspired on Evelyn Hugo and her 7 husbands. I don't even remember the title of that book. I'm sorry, but I'm not really, because of her Zionist author. Well, as I was saying, it's a very similar setting. A past celebrity finally telling the story of their lives. We'll have to see. I don't know how hard this book will hit. Also, I remember, maybe I imagined this, I remember Emily saying that this was her most non-romance book. Like, it does have romance and a lot of romantic interactions, but maybe it is a kind of subplot. I don't remember exactly how she expressed it. I'm just happy to finally have another Emily Henry book about writers. I really hope to have a fun time. Maybe I'm setting the expectations way too high, higher than I should, but if I'm being honest, I know I'll just eat it up. It's Emily Henry, and she really hasn't disappointed me, not even with Happy Place. I know that's her least favorite by the public. I stay strong, because if there's no one that loves Emily Henry and her books in this world, it's because I am alive. Okay, stop being silly. I have to go out now. I'm going to a stationery fair, and that's just what I needed, because new stationery, it's always a good remedy for my heart and for my whole being. If you didn't notice, I have a cold. I still have a cold. I'm trying to do my best. I hope you enjoy this video and get excited as well about the book. I'm also more than excited to share my thoughts with you. Hope that when you read the book, you can can come back to this video, chat about it with me. I would love nothing more than that. So I guess I'll be reading for a while during my trip, and then I'll get home, read a bit more. This reading vlog won't have spoilers. I'm not that cruel. I'll keep it quite simple. I just want to spread the love for Emily Henry to also get you guys excited about this new release. Oopsie. So see you soon.
Penguin Random House Audio presents Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry.
Okay, so hi, hello, good morning, you all. I'm going now to work. I just wanted to say that it's amazing how bad I want to keep reading this book. Like, I haven't had this feeling for a while now, especially with an Emily Henry book. It's not that I haven't enjoyed the last books by her, but this is, I don't know, this is like, I'm not even at the 20%. And it's like, I'm really feeling it like a 5 stars. A fucking 5 stars. I can't say enough how much I'm loving this book. My breath is barely holding on to because I'm walking to the bus stop and there's no fucking buses coming. Alas, I do have my audiobooks, so everything will be fine. I need to talk about it. I need to tell you all my thoughts. But I'm really liking it. Let's wait for tomorrow so I can finally talk to you about this beautiful book. Anyways, capitalism, you know. But yeah, I just needed to try to express because there are no English words enough to specify how much I'm loving this book. It's crazy. Hello everyone, today is Monday, a new week. Hope you're doing okay. I'm just like getting used to life again because if you don't know, and I also talked about this in my last update, I'm currently working part-time during the weekends in IKEA, so yeah, it takes a lot of my energy and strength. There's a lot to do, and of course most of the people go during the weekends since that's the time they have available and free. So I'm still recovering myself from this weekend. Also here in Chile, they changed the hour, like we went backwards 1 hour. So I think that's messing me up. But alas, here we are trying to survive. I was also so frustrated during the weekend because I couldn't do a proper update about the book to dedicate my full time to this reading vlog. Sometimes if you do a reading vlog, you will do it because you have to. Like, that's the whole point of the reading vlog. But now I really needed to make my updates. So I didn't say everything that I needed to say in my last update. I've said updates so many times by now. I knew I wouldn't remember, so I took notes in my little sleep planner. So now I'm going to go through them one by one and also add some other things that come to mind. Let's get started while we wait for my lunch, even though it's 4:37 in the afternoon. A lot of sleeping and naps were done, so I'm not complaining. Well, let's start with how bingeable this book has been. I mean, it's like, I also tried to explain this on my last update, but it's not like I need to know everything now, like in this moment right now, but I have this urge to keep reading, to keep knowing these characters, to keep knowing about this book. There's also a huge mystery component regarding the celebrity they're interviewing and everything, her story, what the public doesn't know, etc., etc. And yes, that's also something very appealing. I think I'm getting more attached to that storyline as the recording passes by. However, of course, the romance element, it caught me off guard, but also I was instantly sold. I knew that would happen, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. Like, I kind of hated the love interest for one page, I think, and then I was like giggling and thirsting over that fictional guy. Maybe that's a problem because I do that with every Emily Henry character, but I don't care, and we're here for it. I don't know how to really explain it. Like, I'm already so intertwined with the narrative and with the story that I feel myself in it, and therefore I'm so captivated by it. So yeah, I don't want to rumble and go in circles about this, so let's go to the next point. Now, Pedro Pascal mentioned, like, not even the 10%. If you don't know this about me, it's not that I love Pedro Pascal, but Pedro Pascal, he is from my country. He's our national emblem. Everyone here loves Pedro Pascal. I think in exception of his family. I'm just kidding, but there was something about his cousin's group chat the other day, and I know it was just for the laughs, but it was still funny. A kind of part of Latino Chilean culture. So Pedro Pascal, we love you, Pedrito. So yeah, that was very exciting. Of course, everyone knows who Pedro Pascal is, but if she knows who Pedro Pascal is, she knows he's from another country. He's not American. So therefore, she must have heard of Chile all the way from this country at the end of the world. This is my application for me to be your friend, and we can talk about Pedro Pascal all you want, Emily. Anyways, okay, so it's also fascinating to me how I can see myself, or at least some part of myself, in every Emily Henry character. Like, she does it so well. That's something that made me fall in love with her. Not only how beyond she goes in her books, but also the character studies she does. Is it coming yet? She develops her main characters in such a way that you can feel they're real persons, you know? Like, you can see yourself in them, even if in just some details. Therefore, they may be not breathing, but they're human. I don't know how else to say it, but you can notice how they have real struggles. I'm not saying they're not real struggles, but I don't know. I'm still kind of drowsy from my nap, so I don't know what other adjective I can use in this situation. For someone who loved words as much as I did, it was amazing how often they felt me. I should reread if it were a villain. I'm just saying. I think the main character I can relate the most to is Nora, because she's a control and I'm much her friend. However, they aren't perfect, of course, and therefore, even if you're a completely different person from them, for example, I can relate that much to Poppy, but I still could relate in some part. In that sense, we can perceive how compelling the craft of an author is, because if you have that ability, like, you want a life. If you can make everyone relate in some parts to your characters, you really know how to write. That's on period. And in that same way, I would say we are dealing with a grumpy sunshine situation here. I cannot be sure, to be honest, because maybe I've read one book with that trope in my whole life. I don't really vibe with it. I'm not really inclined to that type of trope. If I'm attracted to a book with that trope, it would be in the situation where the man is the sunshine and the girly is the grump. However, here our man Hayden is the grumpy and our girly Alice is the sunshine. She's a little bit way too sunshiny for me, but I don't know why I don't find that annoying. Like, it's kind of refreshing. I don't know if it's how Emily craft her whole book around this, but it's really refreshing to read a character like this. She doesn't let herself get down for anything, really. She's not insufferable in any way. Now I'm at the 20%. Yeah, we reached the 20%. Yay! Also, I would say the whole narration by the main character is so Emily Henry, but at the same time, it has her own voice. So that's why I'm just enjoying this book so much. You know, like, I knew she wouldn't disappoint. But I'm just so happy that in the year 2025, we are experiencing this. And I hope you get the fucking vibe. Of course, all of this will be part of our character development. I hope. I'm also interested in seeing that, but I'm just very surprised to how much I am enjoying her voice, even though I'm not a sunshiny person myself. You know, mysterious girl. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I'm really not that mysterious because I love exposing me on the internet. Okay, so now the last point. It is kind of merged with this anyways because we are now talking about Hayden, the lover boy of this book. How do I even begin? How can I even begin explaining the deep chokehold this man has me on? No one can talk ish about my emhen girly because here we have a situation of a tower of a man. Yet the girly is also very tall. Have you heard of it? Ellie Hazelwood? No shame to Ellie Hazelwood, honestly. I haven't read a book by her. Not even one. So I really can't say anything. However, I just love this type of dynamic so much because I don't know, like now just let's take a second. How tall do you think I am? Do you see me as a tall person or as a tiny person? Maybe I already gave you the answer, but a lot of people who previously had saw me through a screen or like we haven't met in person firsthand, when we meet each other in real life, they're like, oh my god, you are tall. You're not supposed to be that tall. And I'm like, what? Because there hasn't been one or two people. A lot of people has said me that because I love the internet and I love meeting people there. But also due to the pandemic and all that time, that dark time, of course, I had to meet a lot of people through that medium first. I'm not that tall, but in consideration to the average height here in Chile, I'm tall by the standards. I get so icky when... Okay, so as you saw, I was living the life talking to you about this book. And then my foot arrived. Now that I'm not famished, I can maybe say things more coherently. However, I kind of forgot what I was talking about. I know I was talking about Hayden, but alas, I'm just going to say that I'm so excited to know him better and how things are being developed between them. Like, she's actually very interested in knowing more about him, and I do kind of share the feeling he's a massive man. I'm sure as hell that he has a massive heart as well. I just wanted to do this update before getting to read again today because I need to clean my room. Such a mess. So I'm going to do that while I listen to my audiobook. I'll see you when I see you with more updates and feelings about this book. It's going so well, so let's hope it keeps being that way. Lily, say hi. Oh, we're gonna go to read. How do I begin, girly pups? They were hanging out in a bar. It wasn't premeditated, if you are wondering. And he said something like, do you want me to drive you to the hotel and then we tomorrow can come to get your car? And I was like, he wants to be near her so bad. I just... And they're fucking banter, I swear. Like, I know it is maybe because I'm reading this book right now, but I think this is the best banter of all Emily Henry books. Like, they really are the moment. Please, guys, as soon as this book comes out, please do yourself the favor of reading it as soon as possible. Peace out. want to scream, you guys. Bye.
A few moments later.
Hello, you guys. I literally started recording, got confused because Lily, my cat, was doing something. But alas, when she isn't doing something is the question. Long time no see. Well, at least for me, because I've been hella trapped into this book. How can I explain how much into it I am? Now, let's see. I don't really know at what percentage I am. Okay, I am at the 50%, all halfway through the book. Well, I don't know if you remember from a few seconds ago my reaction to a particular scene. I need to see the tea. Okay, so the main things I wanted to talk about, I kind of already forgot them. No, not really, but I did like a mental note and that tended to work to me. However, I don't know if it's because my frontal lobe is being developed or whatever other phenomena that is happening to my brain specifically, but that now it's not working seemingly, so I'll remind myself to do so for the next updates. Sorry for the unnecessary zoom. I just got distracted by everything. You know, like there was a hair on my bed and I pulled it out and now there was another hair. Ooh, okay. Do you like my sweater? I did it myself. Yeah. Well, to start with, I want to make a little comparison between two of the most beloved books by Emily Henry. Well, maybe, I don't know. For me, it's like we as a whole, as the human race, I believe we reached a consensus that all Emily Henry books are good. So, all that to say, I'm sorry. I always start rambling. This book, for me, is if beach read and book lovers had a child. I already mentioned this, but the thing about the writers, beach read, in fact, it surprised me the fact that these are not specifically fiction writers, if that gives you something, but still writers. Now they are sharing a kind of dynamic, a little bit similar, not entirely, but a little tiny bit similar to the one that Charlie and Nora have in book lovers. But the good thing is, I'm not that frustrated as of when I was reading that book. If you haven't seen my tier ranking romances video, there I talk more about my thoughts on book lovers and all the other Emily Henry books that are romance, because I haven't read her YA, A Million June, I believe it's called. Well, so yeah, it's not like they're pushing each other, they're not being rude or anything, they just know their chemistry is a little bit way too high. Also about that, oh my god, like the way that these characters are changing things. Basically, they're doing everything right. They seem to be, at least for now, very emotionally intelligent, which is something I love. Of course, there will be character development anyways. There are bonus points if they're not insufferable from the beginning. So yeah, like, I don't know how this will end. I do have my suspicions, but honestly, I want the book to surprise me, to make a larger impression on me. Now, regarding the topic that I talked about at the beginning of this video, where I implied that this book may have a general fiction romance subplot thing going on, now I can safely say that isn't the case. I mean, it is still a romance book. We do have a lot of another plot line going on, which is the mystery of Margaret Ives and all of this family, the last great American dynasty. Oh, that rhymed. At the beginning, it wasn't that I was bored, but I wanted to get to the parts where Hayden was involved faster. Like, they made so much sense from the beginning. So now I'm also very intrigued about the whole story about the Ives and why they seem to be like a curse. Margaret herself said something in the lines of, "My family isn't cursed. We are the curse." And I was like, oh, you ate with that, baby girl. Well, she she's a grown-up woman, but it doesn't matter. I'm still trying to connect with her, but maybe it is because at this point of the book, we haven't reached her story yet. So let's see what it takes us. Also, I'm kind of hoping a huge plot twist regarding Margaret, because there's something that they mentioned in their interviews that made me wonder some stuff. However, I'm not really trying to connect the dots. I just want the book again to surprise me, and I wanted to let it be. Simply as that. Now, going back to Hayden, because I can't stop talking about it. This is what 6'3" men do to my brain and my heart and my whole body. Yeah, I'm not going to say in which moment, but in some part, he says to Alice, the main character, we will be so good together. And I don't know why, but that broke me. Like, please give the people what they want. And he was damn right. Like, he has a vision. We love men that have a vision. If they know what they want, everything is easier. Period. Always Emily Henry boys being the standard, basically. Yeah. So see you soon and keep being cool.
Before our commune days, she says, smiling affectionately at the first.
Okay, yes. I'll be your local Alice Cullen girly pop. I just love doing my hair like this after showering. I don't know why. It came like exactly Alice Cullen in the first movie of the Twilight Saga. Oh, the sun is finally coming out for the day because today's been the cloudiest day of the year. And I'm not complaining about it because, you know, a girly must love a moody weather. However, it kinda slays that just as I started filming this part of the video, this outro, the sun is seemingly happy with it. It agrees with what we're doing here. Hello again. Well, today's Monday. I finished this book on Thursday. However, I needed some time with myself to, I don't know, to let rest my thoughts and also to let them marinate. Like, I had a very specific reaction to the ending, to finishing the book. I still wanted to gather my thoughts the best way possible, so here we are. Also, I needed to work during the weekend, so that's why I also couldn't gather all the energy, the strength to film this after work. Today it's a matcha latte. It's almost gone. A girly needs her matcha latte once in a while just for mental stability. Also to like embrace all the goodness in just a cup of matcha latte. Before the sun eventually decides to go out for the day, we need to talk about Great Big Beautiful Life, the new book by Emily Henry that is releasing on April 22nd, I believe. Is it a Tuesday? Maybe so. My Goodreads review was basically great, big, beautiful because I'm a simple girl, you know. When I feel the need to elaborate a full review, I will do it. However, since I always seem to talk about the books that I'm reading, sometimes I don't find it completely, utterly necessary. These 3 words, maybe they can give you a sense of what I think about the book, was my overall reaction to ending it. Oh, Emily Henry, they will never make me hate you. And you always seem to get better and better. Honestly, I have to ask questions because how do you do it? How do you manage to write a compelling book after a compelling book? And I know it is basically her growth as an author, as a writer, but this is a good example of what that means. And I'm so happy to be in this generation where I can be able to read every Emily Henry book that I wish. I don't know why I think I'm getting worked up. What else can I say? Well, I do have a lot to say. Don't worry. But first things first, first, it was genius. Also very, very funny. Like, I never doubted her regarding that area of her books because it doesn't matter how, she always manages to make me laugh out loud. And if you know me in real life, you know that my laugh is a hideous thing. Like, it's a mix of monstrosity and also a lot of passion. Just enjoying my life, you know? I have no regrets. I'm just so grateful for her to giving me these moments of sheer joy. Also being in love with love. But I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself and I really don't know how to structure what I want to say in a way that results cohesive and also not a mess. Let's keep trying. Okay.
As I was saying,
You basically watch my whole reactions to the book along as I was reading it. Most of them were either screaming because of the chemistry off charts of the two main characters. I think that should be a thing between you and the book. It was so special and also so unique to the book and to every story that Emily Henry writes that it's not that it's hard to put it into words, but also very individual to each reading experience for every reader, you know. But regarding everything else, you saw me either screaming and giggling, screaming, crying, throwing up, but in a good way. Like, I was so gagged many, many times. Sometimes I was just like screaming into my mouth, like, and just, you know, like having a blast, essentially. That was that. And the other part, when I was also screaming, crying, throwing up, but in a little sadder way, was when the third act breakup happened. You know, part of every romance structure. Things keep coming out to my mind that I want to talk about, but they're not in the right moment, so okay, please stop. I need a sip of my matcha latte. You know, a little bit frustrated at the whole situation. I don't know if frustration would be the most accurate feeling I was feeling. But yeah, something like that, like in between the lines of I get why this is happening, but at the same time, I just want them to be together and also for everything to work out. As I was expecting, there was a plot twist. A plot twist that I kind of saw it coming, but not in the way that it came, if you know what I mean. Like, I had the vision, but the vision was a full picture that I didn't notice at first. I have to say, I didn't cry because I think I haven't cried with all my heart for a book in a long time, maybe. And that's my thing, you know. I was thinking about it the other day and I got a little bit concerned because that's who I am. Or I don't know, maybe it's the healing process. I did get a little bit teary-eyed and also I got emotional, of course, because how things turned out and all the confessions, not only regarding love, but also regarding the development of the characters, the whole story surrounding them.
but
Sadly, there's a but, and I didn't want it to happen. Well, let me explain. Do I think this is the best book by Emily Henry out yet? Well, yeah, I do think so. This book is so much more than just story, you know? It's a little bit bigger than life, if that makes sense. Pun intended. You can notice how much love and how much devotion Emily's put in this book. More than just the romance, in the examination of human relationships, also the discussions on human condition. Not only that, but also how media culture works, how celebrity culture also dehumanizes people in a way that it is almost terrifying. But she also poses this question of how much you're willing to sacrifice for fame and just the absolute awareness of being under the spotlight every second. Further, she also exposes this idea of how an event creates a chain of reactions and how that impacts on the people surrounding you, and how also desperation can get the best of you and never return you to your best self or to be aware of what really matters. I'm getting a little bit deep right now, but this is important, I believe. This is why I'm talking about all of this, because I can see how passionate Emily was about this project and what she wanted to offer. These different perspectives regarding life, how great, big, and beautiful it can be. Now, it was her best romance? Actually, maybe also yes, but I think it depends. It really depends on the reader, you know, but I do think, at least for me, it is the one that it works the best best. You know, maybe romance is inherently connected to a little bit of frustration, miscommunication, a little bit nonsensical fights. I wouldn't say that about this book, essentially, at least not in a high percentage. I also think this is the most emotionally mature and intelligent couple of them all. They do have their differences, but they are quick to talk about them and to share their opinions about things, and also to try to understand the other. As I said in a past reaction, here we have the case of a very optimistic girly. We could say something similar regarding January Andrews, the main character of Beach Read. However, Alice Scott's a little bit over the top regarding optimism, and that's okay. As I said, I actually found that very refreshing. It wasn't that annoying how she was portrayed. In fact, it wasn't any annoying at all. I think it was because it wasn't forced. It felt real, you know, like her emotions, how she felt about things, they were authentic. And I can really appreciate that. If you are the same and if you have the same amount of optimistic thoughts, I wish I could be you. At least I'm trying. This is me trying, girly. Yeah, maybe she's my dream self. Now that I think about it, if that means I have to end up with someone like Hayden, please, Lord. I do consider them to be the best romance. Maybe it wasn't as fully romance as the other books, but to be honest, after like the 20%-ish, I didn't notice that much because I was enthralled by both storylines. So great. Now, after all that beautiful praise to Great Big Beautiful Life, I'm sorry to admit that it wasn't a fully 5 stars. I don't know if there'll be the day that I'll find finally a 5-star book by Emily Henry. You know I love her. I basically profess my love for her in every occasion that I can. And I was so sure this was to be the moment, finally the moment that I would rate an emhen book solid 5 stars. But I think it was the ending that it prevented me from doing that. First, the third act breakup, it was a little bit shaky. I could understand where they were coming from. Also, why they had to happen that way. But at some point, I was just like, please. From there, I was like, no, why? Like, I'm still a little bit torn between that because I get it. I really do. And I don't think it's a bad case of miscommunication, but there was something off, you know? Apart from that, the epilogue was beautiful. Truly, I think it was the most beautiful epilogue by Emily Henry. Not only because she did something new, which I loved. Most of the time, that specific part of the book, the epilogue, prevented me from giving the book 5 stars, if I'm being honest, because they tend to be very formulaic. And I'm just saying, why can't we do something different? But I'm glad to say that now that happened, and it's beautiful. Like, I just want to cry by thinking of it. It was sublime. It was like tremendously human epilogue and just wonderful to read. And more than that, but I really don't have any more adjectives on me right now to convey how wonderful it is. But yeah.
I need a moment. Ven para acá. Mi bebé. Mi bebé hermosa, preciosa, la más linda de todas.
Now that I'm calm, let's keep moving. However, everything between the third act breakup and the epilogue, I found it a little bit rushed and not fully developed as it should have been. And when I get this feeling, I always like to put myself in the author's shoes, or at least I try. But I always try to see things from their perspective as authors, as writers. And as a writer myself, I can see how they need to leave things a little bit random and a little bit ambiguous. The finale to hit harder. However, even if I can understand, it doesn't fully comprehend the entirety of the book, of the story, like a way that it makes feel the book a little bit detached from the whole narrative. So yeah, we did have our happy ending. That doesn't mean at some point I was doubting it. I know, crazy, right? Emily Henry made me doubt they wouldn't end up together. And the first thing you know about romance is that they will end up together. I needed something more just before the epilogue. The epilogue didn't didn't close the whole story perfectly. It delivered, but I just got the feeling that something was missing, you know? That's why it's finally a 4.75 rating. That was the same rating that I gave Funny Story. Actually, on my first read, I gave 4 stars to Beach Read. We are still in the lookup for a 5-star Emily Henry book. I know we will get it someday, but this one was the closest, and I will always remember it for it. Like, I've loved every Emily Henry book, but now I'm feeling like I'll be hugely obsessed about it for at least this whole month, maybe this whole year. I wouldn't say exactly that for Funny Story because I think I'm in need of a reread, to be honest. I sat down and turned on my desk light because the sun is actually almost gone and I'm still talking about this book, so I think we should wrap it up. But just before going, I think I'll do a Emily Henry ranking. Just why not? Because I do this every year after I read a new Emily Henry book, and also to let you know how much this book has impacted me and whether it's my new favorite Emily Henry book or not. As I said earlier in this vlog, I do love every Emily Henry book. However, that being said, the fact that Happy Place is in the 5th place doesn't mean that I don't like this book or anything like that. I do appreciate it. It wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but still I can appreciate everything that it has to offer. Then, drum rolls. In the 4th place, we have Book Lovers. Yes, I know. Maybe you will come after me after this. I do love it. Don't get me wrong. I talk more about it in my tier ranking romance video.
I've mentioned it a couple of times here in this vlog.
Just to say that I did take a lot of time talking about Emily Henry. However, like, I do love the book, yet the reading experience wasn't the best for me in comparison to the reading experience of the other books that is linked to the 3rd place, which is People We Meet on Vacation. Yeah, I'm so excited about the adaptation. I did enjoy People We Meet on Vacation a little bit more than Book Lovers. It didn't frustrate me as much as Book Lovers, but I do love the processes of both main girlies. In terms of romance, okay, I don't want to think which one I would prefer. Just let the ranking be. Now, we have other 3 books, romance books by her, and the 2nd place is for Funny Story. Yeah, what a funny coincidence.
I wouldn't have thought of it.
What can I say? The feeling that I got when I finished Funny Story, it was, we were so back. But yeah, I only need to do my reread, maybe to annotate my copy, because I also read it on audiobook provided by Libro.fm, and now I have my physical copy, so we'll see. And now for the 1st place, of course, we have the 2 books that I love the most. Otherwise, I would have said 6 places instead of 5. And you know what? I don't know. Maybe because of the grandiosity of it all, I would put Great Big Beautiful Life first, but at the same level of Beach Read. But I do think Great Big Beautiful Life, which is a title that I seemingly love to say, it's just greater than life. And I will always love Beach Read. It's a book that has a so special place in my heart. It's one of my Roman empires. I think about it at least once in a 2 weeks, if not more. They're just it. And now Alice and Hayden, they're also it, but so much larger. And it's sad to part ways with what started everything, all of this. But you know, we have to move on. We have to keep getting better every day. And Emily got better, got so much better with this. I love you, baby girl. I'm so proud of you, even if we don't know each other. Even if this relationship is only parasocial, what can I say? That's the power of human words. So, guys, without further ado, I think I can give an end to this reading vlog. It was so much fun doing one, especially for a book that I was highly anticipating, and I hope you're also anticipating it because it's good, really. If you hear any bad reviews, pretend they do not exist. No, I'm just kidding. We need to consider every opinion because everyone's opinion is important as long as they are respectful. But overall, I hadn't done a reading vlog like this for a while now. Yeah, I really hope you like this video. If you did, please let me know. Giving it a thumbs up more than just helping the channel. It just helps me being aware of the type of content you would like from me. Just above everything else, I just hope you could enjoy this process with me. I'm really grateful for you being here and for sharing this moment with me. If you ever soon read the book, I hope you can enjoy it as much as I did. And I think I also said this before, but let me know if you read it anytime soon so we can talk about it. Thanks again for being here. See you very soon and take care. Stay safe, keep dreaming, keep going after your goals, and just I wish you all the happiness for this great, big, beautiful life. I'm just your average motivational speaker. Okay, love you. Bye. Have a nice day, night, afternoon, whenever you're seeing this.